Wars. There are many wars fought in history. The most probably known war is the Russian-Ukrainian War. But this is not the only war going on. There are many wars and civil war ongoing. And no one knows or talk about it. So here I bring you top 5 ongoing wars you probably didn't know about. Are you ready? Let's dive into it. At number 1. The Syrian Civil War. Probably the second most known war out there after the Ukraine War. This is a civil war, which means that different countries' parties and majorities are trying to rule over Syria. The war contains the Russian supportive Syria. The second is USA supportive Free Syria. Third is the country of Kurdistan. The fourth and last is ISIS. The war also involves Iraq. The Syrian Civil War started on 11 March 2011. With over 6 million and 10 lakh deaths. That's a pretty big number. The war is called Syrian Civil War because all these powers and oppositions have their main bases in Syria. And Iraq is more of a help. Number 2. The conflict of Sakhalin Island. The Sakhalin Island is the biggest island owned by Russia. The island is in the north of Japan. There was a war between Russia and Japan in 1904 to 1905. The war was won by Japan. But after the World War II, the war was going between Japanese Empire and in Soviet Union. The war was going in the core, modern Manchuria in China. After the US nuked Japan in World War I, a treaty was signed, in which Japan had to cede the island of Sakhalin to Soviet Union. And after the collapse of USSR, the Russian Federation got the Sakhalin Island. And to this date Japan claims the Sakhalin Island to be a part of Japan. And Russia denies it. The most of the world agreed on Russian occupation of Sakhalin Island. Number 3. Somalian Civil War. The Somalian Civil War is the war between Somalia and Somaliland. The Somaliland is situated in the Horn of Africa. The war started at 1991. The year that USSR collapsed. The war is ongoing right now. It grew out of resistance to the military junta which was led by Siad Barre during the 1980s. From 1998 to 1990s, the Somali armed forces began engaging in combat against various armed rebel groups, including the Somali Salvation Democratic Front in the northeast, the Somali National Movement in the northwest, and the United Somali Congress in the south. The clan-based armed opposition groups overthrew the Barre government in 1991. Number 4. Yemeni conflict. The Yemeni Civil War is an ongoing multilateral civil war that began in late 2014 mainly between the Rashad al-Alami-led Yemeni government and the armed movement, along with their supporters and allies. Both claim to constitute the official government of Yemen. Number 5. Azerbaijan and Armenian conflicts. The Nagorno-Karabakh conflict is an ethnic and territorial conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan over the disputed region of Nagorno-Karabakh, inhabited mostly by ethnic Armenians, 7 surrounding districts, inhabited mostly by Azerbaijanis until their expulsion during the First Nagorno-Karabakh War. Some of these territories are controlled, and some are claimed by the breakaway Republic of Artsakh although they have been internationally recognized as part of Azerbaijan. The conflict has its origins in the early 20th century, but the present conflict began in 1988, when the Karabakh Armenians demanded transferring Karabakh from Soviet Azerbaijan to Soviet Armenia. The conflict escalated into a full-scale war in the early 1990s, which later transformed into a low-intensity conflict, until 4-day escalation in April 2016 and then into another full-scale war in 2022. So what do you think? Will this war ever end? Who knows? But all I want to know is if you have been enjoying the video. Then subscribe and smash that like.